Yes, Mangalacharan.
नमो भगवते
कपितरसामृतमूर्ति प्रसृमररुचिरुद्धारका पालि कलितश्यामा ललितो राधा प्रेयान् विधुर्जयति. Welcome to the class. So we have discussed till 22nd verse of the first section of the first wave of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Okay. So where the description is about the power of Vishnu Bhakti, power of Bhakti unto Vishnu. It destroys even the prarabdha karma. 23. अप्रारब्ध फलं पापं कूटं बीजं फलोन्मुखं क्रमेणैव प्रलीयन्ते विष्णु भक्ति रतात्मना. In the Padma Purana, this is found. So Rupa Goswami is now referring to one shloka from the Padma Purana, where it is said that all these various manifestations of one's own sinful actions, such as aprarabdha phalam, okay, that which has not yet manifest, okay, in the next life we are going to get that. That is called aprarabdha. Then in the beginning it is kuta, it is just stored. Then it becomes bija, means it is in the seed form. So these are agriculture terminologies, farming terminologies. So the seeds are stored in a particular storehouse. So that is called kutam. Then you take it out of that and you actually use it as a seed and plant it in the ground. That is called bijam. And then the seed sprouts, it grows and it starts giving its crop, its fruits. That is called phalon mukham, third stage. So all these stages of the manifestations of the results of one's own sins, they are destroyed in that sequence. In that order, they are destroyed. Those who engage in Vishnu Bhakti, those who are continuously engaged in the cultivation of devotion to Bhagavan Vishnu, their sins are destroyed in this order. Jiva Goswami's commentary. Purvarthamev spashtayati padme cha iti. That which Rupa Goswami described earlier in that shloka of Srimad Bhagavat, he is clarifying that with this another shloka from the Padma Purana. पापम इति विशेष्यं तत्र फलोन्मुखं प्रारब्धं बीजं वासनामयं प्रारब्धत्वोन्मुखम् इति यावत् कूटं बीजत्वोन्मुखम् अप्रारब्धफलं न प्रारब्धं कूटत्वादि रूपकार्यावस्थं येन तत्. So what are these various stages of the manifestations of sinful reactions? So papa is the sin which a person commits. That manifests in the form of reaction in various stages. So that which has already manifested, the result is already being experienced by you. That is called phalon mukham, which is nothing but prarabdha, that which has already begun manifesting itself. So phalon mukham, it is nothing but prarabdha, which we said it is removed by bhakti. Then the next thing that is removed is bijam. What is this bijam? Bijam is seed. What is the seed? Vasanamayam prarabdhatvoन्मुखम् iti yavat. This bija is in the form of vasanas, of mental impressions, which are going to manifest soon. Okay? They have not yet manifest itself. These are impressions within our mind. but they will soon manifest themselves. So they will become prarabdha very soon. That is called the bija avastha, the seed condition of the results of one's actions. Then kutam. Kutam is bijatvonmukham. Kutam is that state of the reactions where it is going to become bijam. It is on its way to become the bijam, on its way to uh, become the vasana. Okay, that is kutam. So kutam, bijam, and phalonmukham. They are the three avasthas. Another thing, another word in the shloka is aprarabdha phalam. Aprarabdha means na prarabdham kutattvadi rupakarya avastham jenata. That which has not yet become manifest in the form of kuta, bija, and prarabdha. That is called aprarabdha phalam. Okay. So first, your papa is aprarabdha. It has not yet manifest. Then it becomes kutam. It means it is going to become bijam, going to become the seed. Then it becomes the seed. It means it will manifest soon. Then it actually manifests. That is actually called prarabdha, phalonmukha. Okay. Taccha anadi siddham anantameva. And this aprarabdha, which has not manifest in any form, neither kota, bija, or prarabdha or phalonmukha, that is aprarabdha. And this aprarabdha, that which has not yet come to you, it is anadi siddham. It is existing since a time without any beginning. Okay. It is anadi siddham. It is existing since a time without beginning. There was no time when the Jivatma did its first act in this world. The Jivatma is in this world since a time without a beginning, and is therefore the actions of the Jivatma in this world are since a time without a beginning. And the reactions of those actions, of course, are also since a time without a beginning. Okay. Also, tacha anadi siddham anantameva. And this aprarabdha, that which has not manifest, that which has not yet manifest, because it is anadi siddha, because it is existing since a time without a beginning. It is so numerous, it is so huge that it is ananta. It is without any end. There are literally infinite number of reactions waiting for us in our future lives if we don't take to Krishna Bhakti. Our sojourn in this world, even if we don't do anything in this world, okay, even if you say that, oh, I will not do anything, because I will not do anything, I will not create any reactions, any new reactions. But what about the old activities which you have done? Okay. Those old activities which were since a time without a beginning, they are literally infinite number of activities, innumerable activities which all of us have done in the world. All those reactions now are also waiting. They have not stopped taking effect. We have not exhausted all of them. So they are also waiting for us. Karikayam Vetadeva Prarabdham Ityuktam. In the Karika of Rupa Goswami, which we saw in the earlier class, okay, this is his Karika. So Durjatireva Savana Yogyatve Karanam Matam. Okay. So in that Karika, Etadeva Aprarabdham Iti Uttam. This is what is actually aprarabdha. Perhaps he is referring to this karika itself on which he is commenting. So aprarabdha phalam, this word, it actually means what Jiva Goswami has described. Etadeva aprarabdham iti uttam. This, which is existing since a time without a beginning, that's what is aprarabdha in the Karika. बीज प्रारब्धे तु पूर्वं गणिते तत्तु कूटमवशिष्टं यदपि कूटमवशिष्टं तदपि अप्रारब्ध एव अंतर्भाव्यम् अप्रारब्धे एव. So bija and prarabdha have been counted earlier. They have been described earlier in this commentary. Bija and prarabdha, phalonmukham and bijam have been described. That which is kuta, what what is kuta? Kuta should also be included in aprarabdha. So basically there are two kinds of reactions to our activities. Aprarabdha and prarabdha. Prarabdha is those results which have already started manifesting themselves in our lives. Aprarabdha are those results that have not yet manifested in our lives. So prarabdha is also of two kinds. One which is already we are experiencing, and bija which we are about to experience after some years in this very lifetime. Okay, in this very lifetime, we will experience that just after a few years. So that is called bija. And that which we are already going through, that is called prarabdha, phalonmukham. And that which has not yet become the bija, it is called kuta, that which we'll get in our next life. And the lives later on, that some result we'll get in some later life, that is called just aprarabdha. So aprarabdha is the result which we'll get in our next life and the lives after that, and prarabdha is the result which we are getting right now in this life and in this life after a few years also. That is all prarabdha. Kramena पूर्वानुक्रमेण तथापि पूर्वोक्तं सद्य सवनाय इति कमलपत्र शतवेधन्यायेन किंचित् काल विलंबो ज्ञेय इति. So according to this shloka of Padma Purana, once the results of one's activities are destroyed by the practice of Vishnu Bhakti in this order. First, the reactions of those lives will be, first the reactions of those activities will be removed, those reactions which we'll get in some later life. Then those reactions will be destroyed, which we'll get in the next life. Then those reactions will be destroyed, which we'll get after a few years in this very life. And then at the end, those reactions will be destroyed, which we are getting right now. Okay. So first, the papa which will give our future lives, that is destroyed. Then the papa which will give our next life, that is destroyed. Then the papa which will give us suffering in our this very life few years later, that is destroyed. And then the papa which is giving us suffering right now, that is destroyed, in that order. So tathapi, still, as said in the earlier shloka of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Shvadopi sadhya savanaya kalpate. Even a person who just chants the name of Sri Vishnu even once, just bows down to him once, just hears his name, he immediately, sadhya, at that moment, becomes qualified, becomes eligible to do the Somayaga, to do the Vedic sacrifice. He is right now a member of the lower caste due to his sinful birth. The suffering, the problems due to that birth which he is experiencing right now, that will be destroyed at the end, after destroying the results which will give the future lives, then the next life, then later on in this very life, and then at the end the bhakti should destroy the results of the actions which are giving him suffering right now. So right now he is suffering because of his bad birth. So why does that shloka say that immediately that is destroyed? Because that should happen after the previous papas are destroyed. So then Jiva Goswami gives the logic kamalapatra shatavedhanyayena kinchit kala vilambhajne. Just as a person is making a garland of lotus petals. So you take a long needle and you are piercing 100 petals of lotus stacked in a pile, one on top of the other, and you pierce them with a needle. So you are piercing the stack of 100 lotus petals at once. So with one push, because the lotus petal is so soft, the needle goes through the 100 petals in one stroke. But actually, if you look closely if you film that in a video and run it on slow motion camera, okay, so you will find that actually the needle first goes through the petal which is closest to it, then the petal next to it, then the petal next to it, then the petal next, then the next petal, then the next petal, and then the petal at the outside. But it happens in one stroke. Okay, so that the first petal to be pierced was the first petal, and the last petal to be pierced was the 100th petal. So there was some time difference between the piercing of the first petal and the piercing of the last petal, but it was so small that time taken to pierce, the difference of time between piercing the first petal and the 100th petal was so small that we say that it happened just immediately. So in the same way, Bhakti destroys prarabdha immediately, but if you go into micro-analysis, then first the results, the aprarabdha is destroyed, that which has not yet manifested is destroyed, and then prarabdha is destroyed. Okay, so prarabdha is the last karma to be destroyed by Bhakti. But it happens so fast that we say that it happens immediately. So kinchit kala vilambhajne, just as there is some delay in time between the piercing of the first petal and the last petal of the piercing of 100 lotus petals, in the same way there is some time delay should be understood between the destruction of aprarabdha karma, the results which have not yet manifest, and the destruction of the prarabdha karma, the results which have already manifest. Okay, there is some time difference, but it is as good as happening immediately. Okay, so anyone has a question or doubt?
So in the previous statement, not in the sloka, but in 1:122, it was said basically prarabdha, all the sins get destroyed. Here, it goes into a little bit more detail of the process itself of how it gets destroyed.
Yes.
So, okay. So, and the comparison is to a seed. You plant the seed, it grows into a bush, and then you get the fruit. So, if the fruit is the sin, you also have to destroy the plant, you also have to destroy the seed for the entire sin to be removed. Otherwise, the fruit is just a seed. That's a karma you have to experience.
Yeah.
Is that my understanding is right?
Somewhat, not entirely, because prarabdha is called the fruit because it has already manifested in your life. The result has already come. Okay.
But the seed is the stuff that has not yet manifested, but it will manifest in the future.
Yes.
At some point.
So first that stock is destroyed. Okay. That stock is destroyed first, and then the seed of that plant is destroyed, and then the fruit is destroyed. At the end, at the end, the fruit is destroyed.
Fruit is destroyed. But as far as we are concerned, it happens instantaneously. But the process is, it's like if you collect all the petals of a rose and you poke it through a needle, it takes 1/1,000,000th of one blink of an eye for each petal to be
yes. That's right.
Okay. Because we go through this process of Saranagati, right? So when you do Saranagati to our Guru takes away not just the papa, but also the punya, because the scale has to be balanced. If it is not balanced, we have to be born again to experience the resulting punya that is left, or the resulting papa that is left.
Yeah, that is said in some shloka. So shloka about Diksha Vidhi. imparting the Diksha by the Guru to the Shishya. The Guru, while giving Diksha, imparts you divine knowledge of the Shastra, knowledge of Bhagavan Shri Vishnu.
Right.
He destroys the Papa. Puryat Papasya Sankshaya. Divyam Jnanam Yato Dadyat Puryat Papasya Sankshayam. That is called Diksha. So that's what the Guru does. He gives you knowledge of Bhagavan, and that knowledge of Bhagavan removes your Papa.
It also removes the punya also, because at the time of
Papa and
Sharanagati,
Punya, they are not different.
they are not. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought
Because
one gives you happiness, the other gives you sadness.
But happiness and sadness, they are ultimately suffering. Because happiness means you will get a new body for experiencing happiness, and getting a body is birth, and birth itself.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
so Vishwanath Chakravarti's commentary. Bhaktev prarabdha samanya nashakatve puranantaram api pramanayati padmichakati. So Rupa Goswami is now quoting from the Padma Purana in order to establish that bhakti removes all prarabdha karma. Earlier he quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam, now he also quotes from another Purana, Padma Purana. So these things are the same as Jiva Goswami's commentary, that's why the editor has not mentioned them. Karikam tu etadeva prarabdha muktam, same. Bija kramena also same. Kramastu kamalashatta patra veda eva. Eka panamadhye eva. So that sequence of piercing the petals of a lotus flower, 100 lotus petals, that is actually happening in one moment. And each petal is pierced in 100th or 1000th of a moment. Kshana. So it happens immediately, but technically there is some time difference between the destruction of these karmas. Okay. 24th verse. Anyone else has a question? Okay. Bija haratvam yatha shashthe. In the 6th skandha of Srimad Bhagavatam, 6 to 17, the description is of Krishna Bhakti destroying the bija, the reactions to one's actions, which will give you some suffering in a few years from now in this very life. So bija haratvam is described in the 6 to 17. There is this Ajamila's episode. Taistanyagani puyante tapodanam vratadibhi na dharmajam tadhridayam tadapi shangri sevaya. So by following the various paths described in the Shastras, in the Vedas, such as doing austerity, giving donations, following some vows and other such various practices, your sinful reactions are destroyed. Okay, are removed. So your karmic stock is cleared slowly by these actions. But adharma jam tad hridayam tadapi ishangri sevaya. The hridayam, the seed, the root of these sinful reactions. The root of these sinful reactions is not destroyed. So it is just like cutting the trees in a particular patch of land. If you bought a particular plot of land and you want to make your home there, so you clear that land from the trees and everything. So you have to make sure that you don't just chop the tree and keep its roots. You have to actually uproot that tree from the roots. You have to remove that. Because if you cut the tree but not remove the roots, then the tree will grow back again. Okay. So the bija is compared to the root of these trees, which are the sins, which are the reactions. So that root is removed by serving the lotus feet of Bhagavan Shri Hari. Okay. This root of sins, this bijam is removed by service to Krishna's lotus feet. That's what the shloka of the Srimad Bhagavata says. Jiva Goswami comments, Bija haratvam visheshatah darshayati ityah bijeti. So, Rupa Goswami now particularly demonstrates that Krishna Bhakti also destroys Bija. Earlier, he already demonstrated that Bhakti destroys all of them. It destroys Aprarabdha, then Kutam, Bijam, and Prarabdha also. And now, with the particular focus only on Bija, he quotes this shloka that Bhakti destroys Bija, Papa Bija. Vishwanath Chakravarti comments, बीज हेतुत्वं विशेषतो दृश्यते इत्याह बीजेति तैः तथा विधैरपि पूयन्ते नश्यन्ति पुं विनाशे अधर्मात् जातम् अघानां हृदयं मूलं सूक्ष्म रूपं तु न पूयते. The adharmajam tad hridayam. Adharma means sinful action, papa. So, the heart of sins, aghanam hridayam, the heart of sins, the root of sins, moolam, is not destroyed by all these actions such as austerity, donating something, observing some Vedic vratas, and all these things. Yes. Sukshmam rupam. What is the root? What is the root of these papas? The root of these papas is the Sukshma Rupa, the intangible form, the unmanifest form, the form which is not in our sight. Okay, that action, those reactions are not destroyed by tapasya, donations, and vratas, and so on. But that very root of the sinful reactions, that bija, that is destroyed only by service to the feet of Sri Vishnu. Hari charanayoho bhaktya vasana praryan papakshaya tadapi shuddhyate. There is some editorial errors, I should say. Let me refer to some other edition here. Let me refer to this one. Here it is, 24. Jiva Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti. बीज हरत्वं विशेषतो दृश्यते इत्याह बीजे तैस्तथा विधैरपि पूयन्ते नश्यन्ति पुं विनाशे अधर्मात् जातम् अघानां हृदयं मूलं सूक्ष्मरूपं तु न पूयते न नश्यति तदपि ईशाङ्घ्रि सेवया हरिचरणयोर्भक्त्या वासनापर्यन्त पापक्षयात् तदपि शुद्ध्यति. So the Sukshma Rupa, the subtle form, if the word is correct, so that subtle form of the Papa is not destroyed by tapasya, austerity, donations, and vows, and all these things. However, that subtle form is destroyed by service to the lotus feet of Sri Hari, Hari Charanayoh Bhaktya, by bhakti, by devotion unto the feet of Sri Vishnu. Vasana paryanta papakshaya. Even the vasana is destroyed. Even the very subtle form of the sinful results is destroyed. Okay? That is also purified. That is the idea. Any questions or doubts here? Any comments?
I think he is referring to not just the subtle form, that even the desire to commit some sin is destroyed. You can do yajna, you can do all these rituals, and that rituals will basically, it'll calm your mind down. But the desire that is residing inside you to commit that papa is not totally destroyed. It's still there. It could flare up when some event happens. So by bhakti will destroy even the desire.
Yeah,
I
bhakti
think that's what
destroys.
is meant.
Yeah, bhakti definitely destroys the desire to do the sin also. That is, of course, the understanding. But here, what Rupa Goswami is trying to imply is that the vasana is the impressions which become manifest in the form of the sinful reactions.
Okay.
Basically, there is kutam, that which is stored in the subconscious. Then there is bijam in the form of vasanas, which are impressions in the mind. They are aroused at the right time when the result is going to manifest. So, dharma and adharma, the reactions to uh, our good activities and bad activities, they are all stored in the chitta, in the mind. And they will manifest in the form of whatever we experience in this world. That is the understanding of the Shastras. So here the word vasana does not mean the desire or the mental impressions to do sinful actions, because if you do sinful actions, that will create a prarabdha. That will then change to kutam, that will become bijam, and that will change to prarabdha. Here, vasana should mean that reaction which is about to manifest just after a few years. So that's
Yeah.
okay. Anything else? Any doubt? Okay, 25th verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Avidya Haratvam Yatha Chaturthi. The removal of ignorance as described in the fourth skanda of Srimad Bhagavatam. Yatpada Pankaja Palasha Vilasa Bhaktya Karmashayam Grathidamugrathyanti Santah Tadvanna Riktamatayo Yatayopi Ruddha Sroto Ganastamaranam Bhajavasudevam. This is King Prithu offering his prayers to Bhagavan Shri Narayana. Okay. O mind, worship that Vasudeva, worship that Krishna. Yat Pada Pankaja Palasha Vilasa Bhaktya. By splendid devotion unto the petals of the lotus-like feet of Bhagavan Vishnu. Karma Shayam Gratitam. The heart knot of karma in our heart is untied. Okay. The wise people untie the knot of karma in their hearts by the power of bhakti to Bhagavan Shri Krishna's lotus feet. If people do not take up to Krishna bhakti, and even if they become great yatis, great sannyasis, they will be like Ruddhas Roto Gana Tamara. Their life will be their freedom from suffering will be just like constructing a dam across the river. If you have a dam across a river, you can stop the flow of water and you will have no water rushing through on the other side. So if you want freedom from suffering, you practice all these other paths and you take sannyasa. By that, you become free of the suffering caused by your activities. But that is just like blocking the path of a river. You will not be able to hold on for very long. The monsoons will come and the rivers will swell up. They will cross over that dam and flow again. So only by devotion unto the feet of Bhagavan Vishnu is that karma which is tied up in the heart is that removed. It is untied. So Jiva Goswami's commentary, नैष्ठिक्यास्तु तस्य अविद्या हरत्वमपि प्रतिज्ञाय द्वाभ्यां दर्शयति यत्पादमिति. So the bhakti towards Sri Hari, which is Naishtiki Bhakti. So Naishtiki Bhakti means fixed Bhakti. That which does not flicker. It is totally fixed. One will not be deviated from his engagement in Krishna Bhakti by anything or by anyone. That is called Naishtiki Bhakti. Whatever happens, whether it is too cold, whether it is too hot, whether you are diseased, whether your body is healthy, whether you have lost your loved ones, or whether a son is born to you, you will not stop engaging in Krishna Bhakti. That practice of engagement in Krishna Bhakti will always continue. That is called Naishtika Bhakti. Naishtiki Bhakti. Okay. So such Bhakti, if you engage towards Bhagavan Shri Krishna, it even removes avidya, ignorance. Okay. So Rupa Goswami shows that with two verses, 25 and 26. So 25 is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam. Riktamataya Bhagavad Dhyanadi Vina Bhutamataya Aranam Sharanam Kramascha Atra Shri Sutena Shravanopalakshanataya Prutta. So those whose minds are devoid of meditation on Bhagavan Vishnu, those whose minds are devoid of devotion to Bhagavan Vishnu, they will never attain freedom from this avidya, this ignorance. So ignorance is that karma granthi, is that hard knot of karma, which is extremely difficult to remove. Only by service to Vishnu is it removed. Because this ignorance which we have is a cumulative result of our past actions. So by our innumerable past actions, we have strengthened our identification with our body and our mind and the things related with our body and so forth. So this hard knot of ignorance, which is the accumulation of our previous actions, it can only be removed by devotion to Bhagavan Vishnu. And who is Vishnu? He is the Sharanam. He is the shelter of everyone. So the sequence in which devotion flows, devotion to Krishna happens, is described by Sri Sut Maharaj in the Srimad Bhagavatam. By the mention of Shravana Bhakti, by the mention of hearing about Krishna. Shrinvatam Svakatah Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantasthohya Bhadrani Vidhunodu Suhritsatam Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavat Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki तदा रजस्तमो भावाः कामलोभादयश्च ये चेत एतैरनाविद्धं स्थितं सत्त्वे प्रसीदति एवं प्रसन्नमनसो भगवद्भक्तियोगतः भगवत्तत्त्वविज्ञानं मुक्तसङ्गस्य जायते भिद्यते हृदयग्रन्थिश्छिद्यन्ते सर्वसंशयाः क्षीयन्ते चास्य कर्माणि दृष्ट एवात्मनीश्वरे इति नैष्ठिकी निश्चला इति टीकाकारः. So Shrinvadam Svakatah Krishna. Krishna immediately washes away the bad things situated in the hearts of those who engage in hearing his katha, those who engage in hearing Krishna katha. And who is Krishna? He is Punya Shravana Kirtana. Hearing about him and glorifying him is extremely sacred and auspicious. So hearing about Krishna, it means also speaking about Krishna. It also means worshipping his murti. It also means going to his temple and bowing down. It also means Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. It also means thinking about him. Shravanam is just an upalakshana. It's just one indicator to include all other angas of bhakti. So those who engage in Krishna's bhakti, Krishna himself removes the impure things situated in the hearts of those who listen to him, to his katha, and do his bhakti. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu. When the abhadras, when the pollution in the heart is almost completely removed by Krishna, by Nityam Bhagavata Seva, by regularly, by always serving the Bhagavata, by always serving Krishna's devotees, and by always studying the Srimad Bhagavatam. So by Nityam Bhagavata Seva, by regular hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam and regular following of Krishna Bhakti and regular service to Krishna's devotees, Naishtiki Bhakti unto Bhagavan Shri Krishna arises in one's heart. One's devotion to Bhagavan Shri Hari, who is Uttama Shloka, who is glorified by the best of verses. So Naishtiki Bhakti, fixed devotion to Bhagavan Krishna becomes established in one's heart. One's devotion becomes totally fixed. One will never move from it. At that time, tada rajastamo bhava kamalobhadayashche. That time lust, greed and other such impurities in the mind which arise from rajoguna and tamoguna, the mind becomes totally free of this lust and greed and anger and all these things, and becomes satisfied in sattva. Evam prasanna manasa. Having a cheerful mind in this way, through the practice of bhakti towards Bhagavan Shri Krishna, a person becomes free of all attachments in this world and becomes situated in correct knowledge of Bhagavan Shri Hari. Bhagavat Tattva Vijnana. He gets the enlightenment of what actually is Bhagavan. Who is Bhagavan? He gets the Sakshatkar. Okay? Direct experience of Bhagavan. Then, Vidyate Hridaya Granthi Chidyante Sarvasnishaya. All his Hridaya Granthi, the knot in the heart of karma, is removed. And all his doubts are totally, they disappear. Kshiyante Jasya Karmani. His karmas are exhausted, they evaporate, they go away. When one actually sees the Ishvara in one's heart. Any comments, any questions, any doubts? Okay. Vishwanath Chakravarti's commentary. Naishthikyastu avidya haratvam iti pratipadya dvabhyam darshayati. So Rupa Goswami is now explaining that Naishtiki Bhakti, fixed bhakti towards Bhagavan Krishna, that even removes ignorance. And he shows that with two shlokas. Yasya padapankajayoh palashani angulaya tesham vilasa bhaktya visheshena lasa pratikshana vardhamana kantir yasyam taya sadhana rupaya bhaktya sadhya rupaya cha karmashayam karmavasanamaya ahankaram grothitam yena eva svakarmana tad viparitena bhagavat karmana udgrathayanti santo vaishnava tadvad yataya sannyasino naputa riktya nirvishaya avidyamana मतिर्येषां रिक्तधना इव निर्बुद्धयो असन्तश्च इत्यर्थः। सन्तस्तु भगवद्विषयमतयः सुबुद्धय एव इति भाति। निरुद्धो नद्यादिस्रोतसामिव इन्द्रियाणां गणो ये नैः स्रोतांसि निरुद्धुं शक्याः भवन्ति इति निर्बुद्धित्वचिह्नमेतदेव इति। सन्तस्तु भगवत्सौन्दर्यामृतादिषु प्रसारितचक्षुरादीन्द्रिया इन्द्रियगणाः सुखिनश्च इति भावः। अरणं शरणं। Very nice commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti here. So yat pad pankaja palasha vilasa bhaktya karmashayam gratitamudgrathyanti santa. That is the first half of the verse. So it is explained. So pad pankaja is the lotus feet of Bhagavan Vishnu. The palasha, the petals of that lotus means the fingers, the toes of the feet, the toes of the lotus feet of Bhagavan Vishnu. So one who engages in the splendid devotion, one who engages in splendid devotion to the toes of the lotus feet of Bhagavan Vishnu. So what is that splendid devotion? Visheshena lasa means pratikshana vardhamana kantiryasya. Such bhakti, this bhakti is such that it increases in its beauty at every moment. The beauty of bhakti of this, which this devotee has, it increases at every moment. So this kind of bhakti is of two types: sadhana rupa bhakti and sadhya rupa bhakti. Bhakti in the state of sadhana, when one has not yet attained the state of complete perfection in Krishna bhakti, when one has not yet experienced the pure love of Krishna. Okay? One has appreciation for Krishna, one has faith in Krishna, faith in the Guru, faith in the Shastras. And with that faith, he is taken up to the practice of Krishna bhakti. It is called practice, sadhana. It is not siddha bhakti. You are not attained perfection in that. You are engaging in bhakti as a sadhana and you want to perfect that. So sadhana rupa bhakti is also there and sadhya rupa bhakti is also there. That form of bhakti, when it becomes perfect, prema rupa. So that loving bhakti should also be offered to Krishna. So when we are in the state of sadhana, we do sadhana bhakti, then we gradually advance on that path of bhakti through various stages. And ultimately, by the blessings of Bhagavan Shri Hari, we reach the stage of sadhya bhakti, which is prema bhakti. So in all these stages, when one engages in Krishna bhakti, then karmashayam, which is karma vasanamayam ahankaram, one's ahankara, one's ego, which is constituted of karma vasana. We have our conception that I am so and so. I am this. I am an engineer. I am a Sanskrit teacher. I am the husband of so and so. I am the wife of so and so. I am the son and daughter of so and so. So all this ahankara we have, the conception about ourselves which is not true. So by our own karmas, by our own past actions, we have formed this ego which we have right now. Okay. Our conception of ourself is the result of our past actions. So this ego, this false conception that we have of ourselves can only be removed by the practice of Krishna bhakti. Okay? It cannot be removed by anything else. So tad viparitena bhagavat karmana udgrathayati. On the opposite, those who engage in Krishna bhakti, bhagavat karma, they these Vaishnavas, they can untie this knot of ego. They can become free of this false conception of themselves, which they have formed over innumerable past lives. Tadvat, in the same way, yatayah sannyasinah na. Sannyasis who are not devotees. Here the idea of sannyasa is the Advaita Vedantis who take to sannyasa. Okay. They don't become free of this false conception of themselves. Why? Because riktya nirvishaya avidyamana matindesha. Their mind is devoid of bhakti to Krishna. They don't have the wealth of bhakti to Krishna. In that way, they are poor people, okay? Destitute, poor people who are devoid of the wealth of Krishna bhakti. So, just as poor and destitute people, they don't become free of suffering. In the same way, these sannyasis who are devoid of bhakti to Krishna, they never become free of this ego. And therefore, they are called nirbuddhaya asanta. So they are without any good intellect. They don't have good sense. They don't have the good understanding to take up to the practice of Krishna bhakti. And therefore, although they are sannyasis, they are actually asanta. They are not saintly. Although they are sannyasis, they are not saintly. Saintly means Vaishnavas. Only those who are devotees of Vishnu can be saintly. Others cannot be. Santastu Bhagavad Vishaya Mataya Subuddhaya Eva iti. However, the santas, the saintly people, it means those whose minds are absorbed in Bhagavan Sri Hari, they are subuddhaya. They have a good intellect. They have good sense. They have good understanding. That is the idea. So these other sannyasis, they become free of suffering, but that is just like stopping the flow of some river or some stream. So indriyanam gano yaihi nahi srotam samil. So the rivers and the streams, they are actually the senses. The chakshurendriya, the eyes, the ears, the tongue, the skin, and the karmendriyas also, the hands, the legs, the genital, the rectum, and all these things. The force of the indriyas is so strong, the senses pull you so strongly that you cannot hold them for so long, or for very long. Okay. Just as you try to block the flow of the Ganga river by constructing a dam, but during the monsoons it will overflow and your dam will be of no use. In the same way, our senses cannot be restrained. They cannot be pulled back for very long. We cannot suppress them. We cannot restrain them. But you can give them good engagement. That is the idea. You cannot restrain or suppress the senses. So the sannyasis, although they try to suppress their senses and restrain the activities of their senses, ultimately they have to give into the demands of their senses and their mind, because it is not possible to restrain them. Okay. The very
So
fact.
question. This is by Vishwanath Chakravarti, right? We are discussing Vishwanath Chakravarti.
Yes.
Commentary. Was he a sannyasi?
Yes, he was married in earlier ashrama, but then he renounced everything.
Okay.
Yes, he was.
So it doesn't apply to all sannyasis then, because obviously.
Yeah. The word sannyasi here, it means those who have taken karma sannyasa, as seen in the Advaitic Sampradaya.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
So the Vaishnava sannyasa is a different kind of a sannyasa. Actually, this sannyasa ashrama, it was not part of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya earlier. Even Vishwanatha Chakravarti was not technically a sannyasi, but he was a renunciate in the sense that he had left his household life and he had come to Sri Vrindavan, Brajadhama, and engaged in Krishna Bhakti always. So that is different. That is called Vairagi. Vairagi is different from becoming a sannyasi in the sannyasa ashram. Sannyasi is the ashrama of the four varnas and the four ashramas. Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, sannyasa are the ashramas, and the sannyasi is the fourth ashrama, the last ashrama. So sannyasa ashrama was never taken up in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. So Rupa Goswami, Jiva Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, all these, Vishwanath Chakravarti, Krishnadas Kaviraj, Narottama Das Thakur, Baldev Vidyabhushan, they had not taken up the sannyas order, the sannyas ashram. They had taken up a vairagi life, a renounced life. And that they were given this vairagi vesh. They used to only wear this lower cloth and the upper cloth. And they would beg from door to door and like that, chanting the names of Krishna. So they had this mantra which was given to them at the time by their guru who gave them this vesha. So that Krishna mantra was given. So that is called Vairagi vesha. So sannyasa ashrama was not a part of Gaudiya Vaishnava system, but later on in the early part of the 20th century, in the 1918, 1920, around that time, one Vaishnava called Bimala Prasad, he was a very learned Vaishnava and a very good Jyotish also. He was an astrologer also in his earlier ashram. So he took it to himself to bring in the order of sannyas. He took to the sannyas life, sannyasa ashram. He formally adopted sannyasa. He had the picture of his guru in front of him, and considering his guru as the giver of sannyasa ashram, he took that sannyasa. And became known as Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, who became the guru of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who founded ISKCON Society. And he had many other shishas also who did a lot of Krishna Bhakti things in the world. So the entrance of sannyas ashrama into Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya came at that point. Earlier it was not a part. Of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, the founder of the Sampradaya, he had taken to sannyasa ashrama, yes. But that was for a specific purpose. He did not encourage his followers to take up to the ashrama of sannyas. So his followers did not take up that.
Okay. Thank you, Patrick. I thought it was interesting because this was basically saying the sannyasis don't have the knowledge, and this is written by a sannyasi. That's why I asked.
Yes.
No worries.
So, because these sannyasis, they are devoid of Krishna Bhakti and they are nirbuddhi, they are without any good sense, therefore they are non-saintly people. So these sannyasis, they are trying to control and in the sense they are trying to restrain and suppress their senses, which are like rivers. You cannot restrain rivers, at least not in the olden times. Now with the technology we have, I think we are very confident to say that we can stop even huge rivers for a long time. But earlier it was not possible to build such dams that you can hold back the waters for a long time. So it was considered a foolish attempt to stop rivers. And in the same way, one cannot actually stop the senses. Senses cannot be restrained, cannot be suppressed. So those who are wise people, intelligent people, saintly people, the Vaishnavas, they apply their senses in Bhagavan. So Bhagavat Saundaryamritadishu Prasarita Chakshurati. They apply their eyes in beholding the beautiful form of Bhagavan Sri Vishnu in his temples. They use their ears in hearing the beautiful songs of Krishna and the beautiful descriptions of his Leelas. They apply their tongues in tasting the tulsi that is offered to his feet. They use their hands in cleaning the temple of Vishnu. They use their feet in going to his temple. They also use in hand in doing his arti and abhishek and all these things. Use their nose to smell the garland that was offered to Bhagavan Shri Vishnu. So they apply all their senses in Bhagavan Vishnu, in the ambrosial beauty of Bhagavan, in the ambrosial beauty of his katha and everything. And therefore, these devotees are Sudheya, are very intelligent, very wise people, and therefore they are also very happy people. They are satisfied, they are peaceful, they are calm, joyful, cheerful. That is the sense of the shloka. Aranam Shara. Bhagavan Shri Vishnu, Shri Hari is the shelter of all. Any question someone has, any doubt or comment? All right. So I think
To
we can
summarize,
yes.
to summarize what I understood from our
Yes.
discussion today was, hang on a second. We discussed the first two slokas that we discussed had to do with the destruction of karma.
Yes.
I'm not going to call it papam or punyam. I'm going to call it karma for the sake of summarization. So it is the fruit of the karma, the karma that we are experiencing today, right now. Not only is that destroyed, but the karma that we are supposed to experience sometime in the future in the form of the seed, the stock, and so on, they also get destroyed.
Yes.
And also the root cause of the karma is also destroyed if you have bhakti, because then in the heart, we won't have the desire to perform action that will lead to that karma. Right? So that was the first two slokas that we discussed. And the last sloka that we discussed only 3 today. The last sloka that we discussed, this is the one that I'm having a little bit of difficulty understanding. But basically, if you're devoted to Krishna, you will not have any karma attached to
your
you.
Ego, your false sense of yourself.
The ego is destroyed. But even if you are a sannyasi, you basically, you're suppressing your senses. So it is like a dam that is being built, and at some point the dam is going to burst. So that's not going to help you. So the only thing is to have bhakti to the Lord and to worship the Lord. And if you do that, you don't have anything to worry about.
Yeah, that is right. That's right.
The easy, simple terms. This is my understanding of the 3 slokas that we discussed today.
Absolutely. Thank you. So let's end here, and we'll continue in the next class in the next week. Thank you for participating today.
Thank you, Parachi.
Thank you.
Radhe Radhe.
At this rate, we'll be here for another 5 years.
Yes.
But I'm enjoying it. Thank you.
Thank you.